I have a confession to make. I've recently discovered that I've been living as a perfectionist. At first, I thought this was a good thing. I was patting myself on the back. But after further contemplation, I realised that perfectionism has slowly been eroding at my self-confidence, self-trust, self-esteem and self-respect. In a way, it was almost like I've been setting myself up for failure. Obviously, I can only speak from personal experience, but these are the traits that I identified that caused me the most issues. Firstly, I found myself adopting an all or nothing attitude. This attitude was cleverly disguised as a winning attitude. I had sold myself the idea that I was putting 100% into everything I did and I wasn't going to entertain failure and I must be successful by working when my competition is resting. Truth is, I was selling myself a lie and then I was buying it too, because in the end, perfectionists will accept nothing less than perfection. It's kind of a thing. Perfection is impossible, and it mostly ends in almost perfect. But unfortunately, a perfectionist will see that as failure. This battle with myself often ended in me stuck in procrastination cycles. Believe it or not, procrastination was a massive part of my perfectionism. I would get so bogged down with the possibility of failure that I wouldn't do anything. This procrastination would then go on to fuel further feelings of failure, which also led to setting unrealistic expectations and standards for myself. No matter what I did or was embarking on, my question was always the same: who is the best in the world at this? Which just sounds mad. I'm not sure why, but that's what I would do. And I know I'm not alone on this. I've spoken to many people about it, and I'm embarrassed to say this, but I would consider the best in my competition. Look, it's okay to be ambitious, it's okay to strive for excellence, and it's okay to want to be the best. But when you take someone who is the best in the world and make them your competition, you are disregarding context and setting yourself up for repeatedly experiencing failure. To become the best in the world often involves a unique combination of talent, skill, time and luck. So to compare yourself under that criteria is to compare apples and oranges. Success will come faster if you focus on your progress, not perfection. Another trap for me was being too invested in the outcome. I never allowed myself to enjoy the journey. I was always working and striving to move closer to my goal. There'll be people that'll tell you that that's a trait of successful people. But my experience showed me that it was unsustainable and will most likely end in burnout. I would never stop obsessing over the outcome, even if it was no longer able to be influenced by me. True freedom comes from being able to let go once you've done all you can do. Believe me, it's freedom like you've never experienced before. That said, it was my overwhelming fear of failure that underpinned and was the foundation for my perfectionism. The way I'd catastrophize what would happen if I failed was debilitating and has always been the driving force behind everything being perfect. It's not something I chose to do or was even really that conscious of it, but becoming aware can free you of the insanely crippling way of existing. And lastly, I unknowingly was feeding and nurturing a low self-esteem mindset, believing that anything less than perfection is a failure, allowing a fear of failure to result in procrastination, setting myself up for failure and becoming overly invested in an outcome. These traits of perfectionism consistently eroded my confidence, self-esteem, and respect for myself. As I continued to internalize my collection of evidence, I found it progressively more difficult to trust and believe in myself. The answer in the end was acceptance. Accepting that my best was good enough, that with failure comes learning and growth, and accepting that once I've done all I can do to influence an outcome, that I must then surrender and detach from it. Believe me, perfectionism will make you ill if you don't start becoming aware of it and start practicing acceptance. Perfectionism is a form of self-oppression.